There is a specific kind of love that only becomes available to a man after he has lived enough to deserve it. Not because he earned it through suffering, because he built something through it. And the remarkable thing is, this love often comes from someone younger, someone who saw in him what he stopped seeing in himself. What we're covering today is the psychology behind why younger women genuinely, deeply choose older men. Not for practical reasons, not for security, but for the specific qualities that only time and genuine self-work produce. One section covers the specific attachment psychology behind why younger women often find their most profound connection with older men. Another covers the surprising reason why this kind of love, when it arrives, tends to be the most lasting kind available. And the climax contains a truth about being chosen and what you owe the person who chooses you that most men have never considered. Stay with me. Here is the honest premise. Age gap relationships that work, that genuinely, lastingly work, are not built on surface attraction or circumstantial convenience. They are built on something far more specific and far more durable. They are built on the specific qualities that genuine life experience produces in a man who has done his inner work. And they are chosen by younger women who have enough self-knowledge to recognize those qualities for what they are, and enough courage to pursue them despite a world that sometimes questions their choice. Today we talk about why that choice happens, what produces it, and what it means for the older man who is chosen. 7 sections. Real psychology. Let's go. Bold claim. The most persistent and most damaging myth about younger women who choose older men is that they are seeking a paternal substitute, and the psychology consistently contradicts this. Research on age gap relationship motivations, including studies by Justin Lehmiller on relationship satisfaction across age differences, documents that the primary drivers of younger women choosing older partners are not psychological substitution, but specific positive qualities: emotional maturity, established identity, genuine self-knowledge, and the specific groundedness that comes from having lived through difficulty and emerged intact. She is not looking for someone to take care of her in a parental sense. She is looking for someone who has already done the internal work that she is in the middle of doing herself. Someone who has arrived at a clarity about who he is and what he values that younger men, still in the process of becoming, simply don't yet possess. The distinction is significant. A paternal dynamic produces dependency. An equal who has arrived dynamic produces genuine partnership. Two people at different stages of the same journey, each bringing something the other genuinely needs. Scenario: a woman named Zoe, 28, highly accomplished, completely clear about what she wanted, had dated men her own age for 6 years. She described the experience to her therapist. They're still figuring out who they are, which is fine. I'm figuring it out too, but I don't want to figure it out with someone who is also figuring it out. I want someone who knows, someone who has answers I don't have yet. Not because he's above me, but because he's been on the road longer. She met a man named Lawrence, 51, genuinely grounded, had done significant inner work, and described the difference immediately. He knows himself, not perfectly, but really. I've never been with someone who actually knew themselves before. What most older men do wrong, they misread her attraction as vulnerability and respond with paternalism, offering guidance where she asked for partnership, providing answers where she wanted genuine exchange. What actually works? Treat her as the equal she is. Bring your experience as contribution rather than authority. Let the age difference be a source of richness rather than hierarchy. Bold claim: younger women who choose older men are not drawn to the suffering in their history. They are drawn to the specific qualities that surviving and processing that history produced. And those qualities are only available in men who did not simply endure their past, but genuinely learned from it. The psychology here is precise. Resilience research, particularly the work of George Bonanno at Columbia, documents that people who navigate genuine adversity and emerge with integrated understanding rather than bitterness or avoidance carry specific psychological qualities that are immediately detectable in social interaction. They are less reactive, less threatened by uncertainty, less dependent on external circumstances to feel internally stable, more capable of genuine empathy because they have personally experienced the kind of difficulty that produces it. These qualities, the product of processed rather than suppressed history, are what younger women respond to, not the pain itself. What the pain genuinely worked through, made possible. Mini-story. A man named Robert, 56, had been through a divorce, a significant professional failure, and a health crisis all within 5 years, had spent 3 years doing genuine inner work after those experiences, not performing recovery, actually integrating what had happened. A woman named Amber, 31, met him at a mutual friend's gathering. She told her friend afterward, "He has this quality I can't explain, like he's been through something real and it made him more, not less, more present, more honest, more genuinely himself. I've never felt that from someone his age before." What she was describing was the specific product of genuine integration, not the events themselves, what the events, honestly processed, had built. Bold claim. Younger women who love older men often love them with a quality of genuine, uncomplicated admiration that older men have frequently stopped expecting, and the impact of receiving that love on a man who has earned it is profound. Here is the psychological reality. Many older men, particularly those who have been through divorce or significant relational pain, have quietly revised their expectations downward. They have begun to believe that the specific kind of being deeply, genuinely valued is something that belongs to a chapter of their life that has already passed, that the best of what they might receive from a partner is companionship and mutual tolerance rather than genuine, specific, warmly expressed appreciation for who they actually are. When a younger woman enters their life who sees them clearly, who finds the specific qualities they have built through experience genuinely remarkable, who expresses that appreciation directly and without self-consciousness, it reaches something that many older men had stopped expecting to feel again, not because she doesn't see his limitations, because she sees everything and chooses him anyway, specifically, deliberately, with full awareness. That specific choosing by someone who sees clearly and chooses genuinely is one of the most profoundly healing experiences available to a human being. Bold claim, age gap relationships that work don't work despite the difference in years. They work because of what that difference specifically produces in the dynamic between two people. Here is what the research on successful age gap relationships consistently identifies. The older partner brings established identity, genuine self-knowledge, emotional regulation, and the specific groundedness of someone who has found their footing through difficulty. The younger partner brings energy, perspective unconstrained by accumulated cynicism, genuine openness to experience, and the specific aliveness of someone who is still in the process of becoming. When both people are genuinely invested, when the older man is not performing authority and the younger woman is not performing admiration, the result is a dynamic that combines depth with aliveness, experience with openness, groundedness with momentum. She keeps him connected to the present. He gives her a stable foundation from which to explore it. That specific exchange, when it is genuine and mutual, produces something that same-age relationships often struggle to replicate. Scenario: a man named Howard, 62, described his relationship with a woman named Emma, 34, to his closest friend. "She makes me more curious. I had gotten used to thinking I understood things. She asks questions I stopped asking 20 years ago. She makes me remember what it felt like to not have everything figured out, and how much more interesting the world is from that position." Emma described the same relationship from her side. He makes me feel like I don't have to be terrified of the future, like getting older isn't losing something, it's building something. He's living proof of that. I need that proof right now. Two people, different needs, one dynamic, both genuinely served. Bold claim. Younger women who make the deliberate choice to love an older man often love with a specific quality of commitment that surprises the men they choose, because the choice itself required enough courage that it produced genuine investment. Here is the psychology. When we make a difficult choice, one that required overcoming social pressure, internal doubt, or external disapproval, we invest more genuinely in the outcome than we do in easy choices. Psychologists call this commitment escalation, the documented tendency for the difficulty of a choice to increase the depth of investment in its object. A younger woman who chooses an older man has, in many cases, made a choice that required something of her. She navigated the opinions of people who questioned it. She made peace with the uncertainties that an age gap introduces. She chose deliberately rather than defaulting to what was easiest. That difficulty, that cost of choosing, produces genuine commitment. The investment that followed a hard choice is qualitatively different from the investment that follows an easy one. Mini story. A woman named Diana, 29, had chosen a man named Edward, 53, despite significant pressure from her family. 2 years into their relationship, her mother asked her directly, "Are you sure? Are you really sure this is what you want?" Diana said, "I'm more sure about this than I've been about anything, because I thought about it. I didn't just fall into it. I chose it. Every time someone questioned it, I had to decide again, and every time I decided the same way." That quality of repeatedly, deliberately choosing of a love that has been tested and held is what the older man receives when a younger woman loves him fully. Bold claim. Being genuinely chosen by someone who has paid a real cost to choose you carries a specific responsibility. And the older man who doesn't understand that responsibility is the one who fails the relationship despite receiving the most remarkable gift available. Here is the honest truth. When a younger woman loves an older man genuinely, when she has made the deliberate, considered, courageous choice to invest her heart in someone whose years mean she may face certain losses earlier than her peers, she has offered something that deserves to be met with specific qualities. She deserves a man who does not take her choice for granted, who understands that her being here, specifically, deliberately, with full awareness of what the choice required, is not ordinary. It is remarkable. She deserves a man who stays emotionally present, who continues doing his internal work, who does not rest on the foundation of having been chosen and stop being the person who warranted being chosen. She deserves a man who is honest about his limitations, who does not perform certainty he doesn't have, who brings the genuine, complete, imperfect but integrated version of himself rather than a carefully managed presentation. And she deserves a man who understands that the specific gift she is offering, her genuine, full, deliberate love, is not something to be possessed, but something to be honored daily through consistent, genuine, fully present showing up. This is the truth reveal, the deepest psychological insight in this entire video. Bold claim. The most profound thing an older man can do for a younger woman who has genuinely chosen him, the thing that makes him worthy of being her deepest love, is to allow himself to be fully known by her, not the managed version, not the version that has its history curated for presentation, the actual, complete, fully inhabited version. Here is why this is the climax. Most older men have spent decades developing very sophisticated defenses around their genuine interior life. They have learned to be strong in ways that required concealing vulnerability, to be capable in ways that required hiding doubt, to be present for others in ways that required suppressing their own needs. These defenses served them. They were necessary at the time. But a younger woman who loves an older man deeply, who has chosen him with full awareness, is not in love with the defended version. She is in love with who she senses underneath it, the genuine, complete, fully human person that the defenses have been protecting. And what she is asking for, through her consistent presence, her genuine curiosity, her specific attention, is to be let inside, to be shown the person she chose rather than the performance of that person. The man who can do that, who can lower the defenses carefully but genuinely, who can let himself be fully known by someone who has proven themselves worthy of that knowledge, gives her something that no other man in her life will likely give her. He gives her access to a person who is real, and in doing so, he receives something in return that most men never experience: being loved fully, specifically, and completely by someone who knows exactly who they are loving. That is the deepest love available, not the love that exists before two people fully know each other, the love that persists and deepens after they do. The Stoics called this amor fati, love of what is, not love of an idealized version, not love of who someone might become or who they once were, love of what actually is, the complete, present, fully inhabited reality of another person. When two people, regardless of their ages, arrive at that with each other, they have found something that most people spend their entire lives searching for. You have been chosen by someone who saw you, specifically, clearly, with full awareness of your years and your history and your complexity, and decided that what they found was worth their genuine, full, deliberate love. The only question worth asking now is whether you will show up fully enough to be worthy of it. Here is the question I want to leave you with. If someone younger has chosen you, or is choosing you, what would it mean to fully receive that? Not to manage it, not to protect yourself from it, to actually receive it and be changed by it? And if you haven't been chosen yet, which of the qualities we talked about today are you most actively building? Because the love we're describing is not accidental. It finds the men who have done the work, who have integrated their experience, who have arrived at genuine peace with who they are. Are you that man yet, or are you still becoming him? Drop in the comments. I want to know where you are in that journey. I read every single one, and if today gave you something genuinely worth sitting with, subscribe. Every week we bring this level of depth and honesty to the conversations that actually matter. See you in the next one.